kiddos, in this video I will be going over your chapter 15 math test with you. So you should have your math test printed out and ready to go in front of you. And we will begin on the page that says 79 and 80 down at the bottom. So if you don't see 79 and 80, you're probably on the other page. So you want to make sure that you flip back to 79 and 80. And I'm going to go through each of these questions with you. I will use my clock here to guide you if there's some that I think need guidance. I have a feeling you're going to do great on this though, okay? So just a couple reminders before we get started. Remember that this short hand, the red hand on my clock or the short hand on the test clocks, is the hour hand. So that will always tell us what hour we are in. And this blue hand, or the long hand, is the minute hand. That will always tell us what the minute is. So whether it's on the 12 and we say o'clock, if it's on the 6 and we say 30, or depending on anywhere else it might be on the clock, it tells us the minutes. So let's take a look at number 1. It says write the time in 2 different ways. So take a look at that analog clock, and we see that the hour hand is on the 3 and the minute hand is over the 12. So what time does that clock say? You're going to write it here on the digital clock, and you'll write it here. So it tells us what o'clock is it. So go ahead and write your answer. Just a reminder, because this is a video, if I start going too fast at any time, you can just pause, catch up, and then unpause. Moving on to number 2, it says write the time in 3 different ways. So here we have the hour is between 10 and 11, and the minute hand is down over the 6. So what time does that clock say? Write it here on the digital clock, and then it says half past, put the number there, it's half past what time, and then how many minutes after what hour. So you'll put the minutes here and the hour there. Okay. Let's look down now at number 3. It says the minute hand is at the 6 and the hour hand is between 3 and 4. So you're going to draw that here on your clock. So on my clock here, the minute hand is at the 6 and the hour hand is between 3 and 4, halfway between 3 and 4. So we know we are still in the 3 o'clock hour. So go ahead and draw the hands on your clock to look like mine, and then write the digital time there as well. Okay, number 4 says draw lines to connect the clocks showing the same time. So you're going to take a minute and you'll look at the digital clocks here and you will connect them to the analog clocks. Okay, so it's like a matching, which clocks here and which clocks here match. So go ahead and take a minute. If you need to pause it while you do that, you may. Yep, you tell them, Grayson. They can pause it if they need to. All right, number 5 says draw hands on the clock to show 8 o'clock. Remember to make sure that your hour hand is shorter than your minute hand, and draw your hands to show 8 o'clock on that clock. And when you're finished doing that, on this clock, you're going to show half past 9 or 9:30. So draw the hands on that clock. All right, looking down now at number 7, it says Peter starts his bike ride at 6:30. Okay, so 6:30 would look like this. We got 6:30. Peter starts riding his bike. It says Martin starts 30 minutes later. So let's move our thanks, Grayson. Let's move our minute hand 30 minutes later, and this is what time Martin begins his bike ride. So you need to write that time on this line. And when you're done, go ahead and go to the next page. Okay. We are moving right along. Number 8 says write the times shown. Okay, so what time is on this clock? Write them on the lines. And then it says circle to show the time pattern, the type of time pattern. So it goes from 1 to 2 and then from 2 to 3. Is that an hour pattern or a half-hour pattern? Circle the correct answer. And then you're going to do the same thing down here at number 9. Remember, pause if I'm going too fast. You're going to write what time is on this clock here, what time is on that clock here, and what time is on that clock here. And then tell me if that is an hour pattern or a half-hour pattern. And when you're finished, you can unpause. Number 10 says, Christy made a half-hour pattern using 3 clocks. The second clock showed 4. So what would be a half an hour before 4? And what would be a half an hour after 4? Go ahead and write those times in there, and then we'll move on to number 11. Number 11 says Nancy eats lunch at 12:30. So I'll make my clock say 12 is the hour and 30 is the minute, right? So 12:30. Kristen eats lunch before Nancy, and Amy eats lunch after Nancy. So who eats lunch last? Well, if Amy eats lunch after Nancy, then Amy must eat lunch last. That's a silly question. I kind of gave you the answer there. So Amy. Number 12, choose when this activity happens. When we do school, is that at daytime or nighttime? And I'm talking in a normal world where we're not in a pandemic and we're not working from home. When we actually get up and go to school, does that happen in the day or at night? And number 13 says, Chris plays tennis at 3 o'clock. All right, so Chris is playing at 3 o'clock. Done. And it says Tim plays tennis an hour after. So an hour after would be boom, boom, boom this time. Then it says Ben plays a half hour before Tim. So this is the time that Tim plays. And Ben plays 30 minutes or a half an hour before. So we're looking at this time. Okay? So who plays tennis at 4? Well, I showed you this was the time that Tim played. So if you think Tim is at 4, fill in Tim. This is the time that Ben plays. So if you think that says 4, fill in Ben. And this is the time that Chris plays. So if you think that says 4 o'clock, fill in Chris. This is Chris, this is Tim, and this is Ben. And the last one there, boys and girls. Sorry, Grayson is playing with his little people farm. So if you're hearing animal noises, that is what's going on in my basement right now. Digital distance learning at its finest. Number 14 says, what is something that you do at night? Do you play in the park, use a flashlight, or eat lunch? If you think you play in the park at night, fill in this one. If you think you use a flashlight at night, fill in this one. And if you think you eat lunch at night, fill in this one. And then the second part of 14 says, what things can you do during the day? Can you see stars, wear sunscreen, or ride a bike? And you can choose more than one for that. Okay? And when you are finished, boys and girls, take a picture of both sides and upload it to Dojo so I can get you some points for your Chapter 15 test. We only have one chapter left in our math books, and you will be officially second graders. I can't believe it. Bye, boys and girls.